And then lastly, we're going to talk about recognizing teachers and remembering names and the TTW schedule. So when it comes to recognizing teachers, what tips do you guys have for the best way to acknowledge a teacher that's completed the workshop successfully?
Well, we hand out certificates, and I think it's good to choose someone that's important in the new readers, in the teachers' lives, that can help pass out the certificates, or maybe pass them out himself. Maybe their pastor, a teacher, someone that really would make it meaningful to them.
Excellent. It's a great idea. I think the book recommends several different possibilities, but what's not listed in that section, which I think is probably the best way to recognize teachers, is to incorporate it into a Sunday morning church service. Because that usually is the best way to get the whole church involved. You have the greatest visibility. It's a way to get the pastor involved as he kind of launches this ministry by saying, these people have finished the teacher training workshop this week, and their trainer has said that they've all done very well, that they're ready to teach. And it's a way for the pastor to also announce to the whole church. Maybe there's some people that didn't sign up for the literacy class when they first announced it. So it's another opportunity to say, here are the people who are trained and ready and willing to teach you. If you don't know how to read the Bible, then these are the people you need to find and sign up for their literacy classes. And it's a way for the church to launch the literacy ministry in a way that incorporates it directly into the outreach of the church, as opposed to something that just happened in the middle of the week on the side, where the LEI trainer gave out the certificates already. And it's much better to try to use that opportunity to promote the ministry and to maybe attract the attention of some non-readers there as well. It's also a way that you can maybe motivate someone who didn't sign up for the training but is excited to maybe join the teaching team for the next time around. So that's my personal recommendation. I think the Sunday morning service right after the teacher training workshop ends is the best time, and let the pastor be the one to give out the certificates. Even if you're there, you can be a part of it, but I would insist that the pastor be the one to give out the certificates so that everyone sees that, okay, this is a ministry of our church. We are commissioning these people as workers, as servants in our church. And so the pastor's involvement is so crucial. It can't be overemphasized. Okay, let's talk about names. We recommend that you learn everybody's name. Why do we insist that you as a trainer learn the names of the participants?
Because it makes them feel that they are important. It helps them to know that their teacher cares about them. And we usually take an index card and just fold it in half and write the student's name on one side and set it up on the desk so that we as teachers can see that name, and we can learn it much faster by seeing all the students' name cards on their tables. And then when we get to know their names, this goes back to the faithfulness of the teacher, that he or she can greet them at the door, can say their names, which means that they are special. The teacher is there early, which is usually good for the students to know that they are interested in having them learn this skill. And so learning their name as soon as possible is a very good thing.
Yeah, I think it sets up like you said, sets up the proper model for being a servant leader teacher, being a servant teacher, as opposed to the traditional model, especially in certain parts of the world, is the teacher is up here. He is all-knowing. He is the one that has all the information, and the students don't know anything, so he has to open up their brains and dump in all the information that he knows and then close it up and send them home. As opposed to this idea of we are brothers and sisters in Christ. We are all human beings. We're equal before God, And we have a lot to learn from you as well as students. We want teachers to have that attitude as well. And so learning names and calling people by their name in whatever respectful form, Uncle Tom or Brother Brian or Sister Jane, whatever prefix you need to use before their name to give respect is fine. But knowing their names is good. And a lot of cultures, I think it's common just to call people brother and sister. And so it almost becomes a crutch where we don't really learn people's names because everybody is brother or uncle or sister or auntie. And so I think we've all been guilty of that, but taking the time to learn names is really crucial. And another benefit of that is when you're doing the teacher training workshop, when you're modeling how to teach a class, it's important for certain sections to call on different people by name. For instance, in step 4, when we use the word cards, after showing the word cards to the whole class, then I recommend that the teachers call on each student by name and have them read through each word card to see if they're actually reading. Or even sometimes during step 3 in boxes 3 and 5 in the mixed syllable reviews and the compare and contrast boxes, I recommend having each student read those individually. And so to be able to call on the person by name and say, okay, now Juan Carlos, now you read this. Okay, now Rafael, you read this. And to be able to name each student by name also helps when you're calling on students individually. And so that's another advantage of learning the names.